One of the secrets to success in life is to be willing to admit that you're making a mistake so you can reverse course. We are going to make mistakes, but if you continue down the path because you can't admit that you're making a mistake or that you've made a mistake, your ego is so determined to prove that you're right and not wrong that you can do damage to yourself and to your organization.
Are you ready for a different model of healthcare that actually promotes health and vitality rather than just managing symptoms? Today, I'm talking with John Mackey, the founder of Whole Foods, who recently sold it to Amazon for $14 billion and just started his newest venture, Love.Life, a massive holistic health club in the South Bay of Los Angeles, happens to be 7 minutes down the road. And in this episode, John shares something most entrepreneurs miss: how following your heart isn't just feel-good advice, it's actually the secret to sustainable success. We dive into his daily spiritual practices, why he thinks life is like a lucid dream, and how choosing love in every moment can transform both your business and your well-being. Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Heal with Kelly podcast. I am your host, Kelly Gores, and I am so excited to be here today. I say that every time, but genuinely, I really am so honored and humbled and excited for this conversation because it is with John Mackey, the founder of a little store you may have heard of called Whole Foods. And we are going to talk about his new venture called Love.Life, which, lucky for me, is 7 minutes down the road. The first, flagship creation that we're going to talk about. And yes, I'm just so excited to welcome to the show, talk about entrepreneurship and conscious capitalism and everything that he is creating in the world and has created. So, John, welcome.
Thanks for having me on, Kelly.
Yeah. In preparing for this interview, I got moved to tears almost multiple times because the language you use is literally the exact same language we use. Our life and world visions are so aligned. So I want to get deeply spiritual today.
Great.
And also tap your brain about entrepreneurship because I am entering this phase of we're launching this personalized healing app.
Mm-hmm.
I'm embarking on my next film project and we're creating this big company. And you are such an inspiration with how you've created Whole Foods. So, and now Love.Life.
Thank you.
So let's start. I want to just out the gate talk about Love.Life, this new chapter. What inspired you to create it? What is it? Because it's so aligned too with how I feel the world needs to change.
Well, first, what is Love.Life? It's a very large holistic health club, and it's 45,000 square feet. It's an old Best Buy. It's located next to Whole Foods Market's location in El Segundo, and so we have a healthy restaurant when you first come in. We have a community room, a gather room, where we can hold classes and lectures and retreats. Then we have a state-of-the-art fitness center, yoga studio, Pilates. We can do breath work there, meditation classes. We have a physical therapy room because we're doing a lot of physical therapy there. And then we have a really nice spa, like you'd get in an upscale resort with massage and facials. We have a lot of recovery modalities and a lot of biohacks. So we have cold plunges. We have 6 cold plunges. We have infrared sauna, red light therapy, cryotherapy, hyperbaric oxygen, PEMF machines, a lymphatic suit. We can do IVs. We're aiming to be sort of one stop for holistic health and wellness. And then, of course, we have our medical center, because we want to do primary health care for people. And we do very deep tests because most people don't know how healthy they are or unhealthy. So once we can get people's baseline established as a member, then we can begin to develop a plan for them to become the healthiest version of themselves. And then we can track it over time. We can see if we're making progress because we can repeat the testing. And we can wear wearables like the Oura Ring you're wearing or Apple Watch. And the data can be compiled and kept on their app. So I was inspired to do this a long time ago. Honestly, I almost did this back in 1989. It would have been a much smaller, different version. It's a long time ago now. And we canceled it at the last minute because my sort of person that was going to be doing the breath work and the meditation decided not to invest money. So I said, you know what? We'll back away and do this a later time. It's just a lot later than I thought. Mm-hmm. And then Whole Foods Market, we did something and still do something for our team members. We call it a total health immersion. What we discovered was, because we're self-insured, that for health insurance, that 10% of our team members spent 90% of our healthcare dollars.
Wow.
And so most of that's spent on chronic diseases. Of course, a premature birth or cancer or something like that could run to millions of dollars. But in general, it was just these few people that we continued to spend a lot of money on. And so the win-win-win solution was, how do we help these people become healthier? And that'll be good for them, good for their families, good for Whole Foods, and it'll be cut our insurance costs down as well. So we started doing this where we'd take people into retreat-like settings for about a week, and you had to apply for it. You didn't get in automatically. And of course, we paid for everything, and we've sent over 5,000 people through that program now. And the thing that was extraordinary about it for me is my own health journey has been sort of a steady sort of, I keep learning and keep improving. I've never really been seriously ill or felt a radical change in my own personal life. But what I saw happening there was sort of amazing. In just a week, if people would change their diets, exercise, and and manage stress and sleep better, the human body is so resilient. It recovers quickly when we stop poisoning it. Mm. And so we saw people in just a week, if they were obese, they might drop 7 to 10 pounds in that week. Their blood sugar would, and if they were type 2 diabetics, oftentimes their blood sugar would normalize in that period of time, and they could go off their meds. If not then, within a few weeks after that, they generally could. That's a very, very reversible disease. Mm-hmm. Type 2 diabetes.
Right.
We saw that cholesterol would drop 40 points in that week. And the people that stayed on the program, Kelly, they healed themselves. They became, I remember when I toured the stores, people would always come up to me and thank me for, oh, thank you, Mr. Mackey, for sending me on that total health immersion. It changed my life. I'm healthy again. My kids, I can play with my kids, and just so grateful for that. So I was always getting that kind of feedback. The problem was, or the challenge was, we could do that for a week and people could see the progress, but recidivism would be high. The food addictions are deep. Most people are not aware how deeply they are addicted to their particular diets. Mm. And you also have a lot of enablers, you might say. If your family's not supportive or your friends aren't supportive. I always say that a good example is, let's say an alcoholic goes into rehab for 90 days. They come back, he or she is sober. But if they go back in that same type of environment that they came from, their friends like to go to the bar on Friday nights, and they're not going to stay on the wagon. They need a community of support. Mm-hmm. Love.Life is trying to put all the things under one roof that lead for people to be well and healthy, to become the healthiest version of themselves. We're all on a health journey. We could all be healthier than we are, more healthier physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So we want to create a community of people that are dedicated to finding out how healthy they can be.
I love it. Very much in line with the philosophy of my documentary and what we teach here. It's like our body is so intelligent and designed to heal in every moment, and we just need to learn how to get out of its way and to support it.
And to stop sabotaging it.
Yeah, and stop poisoning it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And we are, just in the modern life environment, there's toxins and things that we are out of our control that are invisible. So having a place where you can go and work out and sweat and move the body and then do these kind of biohacking modalities, it's like we need to proactively, because of modern life, actively detox and then, do the emotional healing so that we aren't, making these sabotaging choices on ourselves with food and other things.
It's true. While there are a modern lifestyle has some downsides to it. I mean, as you say, toxins, air pollution, water pollution, et cetera. But it also has a lot of advantages. For example, we've never had access to this diversity of food. Perhaps when we were hunters and gatherers, 40,000 years ago, but today you can get, if you choose to, you can eat the most amazing selections of fruit and produce really from around the world. We know scientifically about exercise. We know meditation. We have so much more access. The tools to help us be healthier have never been this abundant. So the opportunities, if we want to be healthier, are there. And frankly, the science backs it up. So that's the advantage that we have today over the past. But as you say, there are toxins, some damage to the environment. All the more reason why we have to make our own bodies as healthy and resilient as possible.
Yeah. Whole Foods was, for 20 years, I think, one of the best companies to work for. And I think that's because of the...
Probably for all 44 years I was there, but we were named one of the 100 best companies to work for 20 consecutive years.
Much better put. And that's because of the culture you created, because I think you've done the work. You were very spiritual your whole life, from what I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that culture that you created, and what you've infused in it. Because we, like, for instance, my business partner and I, we have a small and nimble team. We have not grown to the magnitude of a Whole Foods. But like when we get our management team together, we do human design and gene keys, and we understand how people need to be supported and to support their own zone of genius. And you treat your team members the same way, even as it's grown over 44 years.
I get asked a lot of questions about culture. And the most important thing to understand is that culture is something that you co-create. The leader sort of sets the pace for it, but it is a co-creation of everyone interacting and being involved. And it kind of starts with the purpose. If you have a higher purpose, that helps orient the culture and direction of fulfilling that purpose. Whole Foods' higher purpose was to nourish people and the planet. And Love.Life's higher purpose is to help people to be the healthiest version of themselves. Mm-hmm. So once you have purpose, then the next thing, what are your core values? Like Whole Foods' core values, sell the highest quality natural and organic foods in the world, to satisfy and delight our customers, to help our team members to be healthy and grow and happy, to be good partners with our suppliers. So we lay out all of our to be environmentally responsible. We'd lay out all our core values, put them up, and that's what we had to live up to. And then final thing is, what are your leadership principles? How do you lead? What are the ways that you're connecting with people? You can have a leadership principle around telling the truth, being of service at all times. And so you put your leadership principles out there, and those, like the core values, but this is kind of the way we do things. And so if you get those purpose, core values, and leadership principles intact, now you can put it all out there, but how you show up as the CEO, you embody the purpose, you embody the core values, you embody them. And so if you don't walk the talk, it doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. You have to be the archetype of the culture yourself. You have to live it, breathe it, and think it. Or you're a hypocrite. Mm-hmm. Or you need to get a different kind of culture, because people aren't going to believe it.
Yeah.
So I don't think many CEOs pay enough attention to culture. They take it for granted, or they delegate it to their HR department. Huge mistake. I really feel like the CEO needs to be realized that culture is living, and it can be evolving, or it can be devolving. It can be getting less healthy. And so, kind of like a garden, you got to pull the weeds out, and you got to nurture the healthy plants. Mm-hmm. Same way in a culture.
Yeah. And have you always been kind of like heart-led or conscious on this journey? Like, I know that you've evolved over time and increased your capacity.
You're answering the question for me.
Yeah. I guess that's right. I guess maybe paint that picture of that evolution, because we're all works in progress, and we will continue until we,
Well, I mean, it has been a journey. I wrote a book, a memoir called The Whole Story. It came out just a year ago now. And it's the story of Whole Foods. It's my own story personally, my own spiritual journey. And it's. I always tell people everybody should write a memoir. When you're older, you should write a memoir. It's a gift you give to your children, your family, your friends. I had friends read my memoir and says, I think I finally get you.
I
You always
know.
confused me before. So the point is that consciousness is something that does evolve, and I'm more conscious today than I was 30 or 40 years ago. Hopefully less conscious than I'll be in 5 or 10 years from now. So I do think that, again, we're all on a spiritual journey. We're all awakening. We're all awakening to love. We're all awakening to a higher purpose. Mm-hmm. And by the way, reflecting or turning that back around to culture, there are 2 things that I found are most important in culture. If you have these 2 things, if you get these 2 things right, the rest fall into place. First is the purpose. I cannot emphasize this enough. People want purpose. People want meaning. And if you can create that in your organization where everybody wants to feel like their work's contributing in some way. They want to feel good about themselves, that what they're doing makes a difference. It's not just earning a living. That's important. They have to be able to earn a living too. But if that's just it, then their life energy will be somewhere else. And if you want to have it in the work, in the organization, then purpose doesn't really matter. Secondly is love. Those are the 2 most important values in life, purpose and love. Because everybody wants to feel like their work matters, and everybody wants to feel like they're cared about. And so if you can create those 2 things, people stay with you forever. I mean, when Amazon bought Whole Foods Market back in 2017, the thing that surprised Amazon the most when they started looking through looking under the hood was, gosh, people work here so long. Because Amazon does not have long tenure there. And it's more of a professional culture, whereas Whole Foods was more of a love culture, more of a family. And even though we got really large, we kept that sort of feeling. And that was for me why I stayed so long. It's because I love so many people I was working with. The hardest thing for me was I kind of outlived my peer group. I'm not outlived them, but I was continuing to work when they were all retiring. Mm-hmm. And so it was the people that I had been in the foxhole with and shared the triumphs and suffered the losses together. Yeah, they weren't there any longer. Mm-hmm. So it was a little bit less fulfilling for me as time passed.
And as as I'm doing the work and reading Course in Miracles and doing all the things that we do, our hope is that life gets easier. But I'm finding that as we spiral up, our capacity expands, and then life gives us new challenges at that level of capacity to navigate, right? That's the evolution of our soul and consciousness. So how do you find? I'm finding that balance of as I'm creating this company and we're birthing these phenomenal things for service, and for our purpose. I'm trying to balance being present with my daughter, because that's the most important. And everybody's like, you're going to blink and she's going to be off to college.
It's true.
And also I have big visions for our life, and I'm an adventurer, and I want the financial freedom that gives me the freedom and the, kind of relaxation in my body to be as generous and to create what I want to create in the world, So I'd love to just kind of dive into a conversation of you sold Whole Foods to Amazon for $13.7 billion or almost $14 billion. You love life. I mean, you talk about having enough. What is your advice for someone? I feel like for the vision of life that I want and for what I'm trying to accomplish in the world, I need a lot of focus and priority, but I also don't want to, I want to be in joy and presence for my daughter. So how do we find that balance? Because as an entrepreneur, it's I got to go now, and I've got to put all, it's constant overcoming of challenges. And
yeah. So. Welcome to life.
Give me the golden nugget here. Give me the secret.
The golden nugget is to continue to follow your heart. I think we all have inner guidance. It's quiet. We have to be able to tune into it. So I do think daily practices are important. I start my day off. After I get up, first I'm going to do spiritual readings, usually in the Course in Miracles, but other books as well. Then I'm going to do gratitudes. And I find gratitudes to be an incredibly powerful spiritual thing to do, and not to overly ritualize it, but continue to let your mind think of the things you're grateful for, because because that's expansive. That opens you up for the day. Because otherwise, our problems can contract us down. There's always problems, and they can take our mind, spinning. We don't sleep as well. We have anxiety. Gratitude's sort of reverse that trend by opening us back up and remembering, oh my gosh, what a miracle it is to be alive. How spectacular, how beautiful it is. You can be grateful for your daughter, grateful for your health, and all the things the beauty that's in the world, your friends, the people that you love. We're so blessed. We're so fortunate. And so then after that, then I do some visualizations, intentionality in terms of, what I would like to see manifest. But at the same time, that's a tricky thing. But I'm also kind of surrendering on that as well for whatever's best, whatever should be best, let that manifest.
Mm-hmm.
And then I meditate. And so that ritual every day gets me, that whole thing takes maybe an hour. And that whole thing, that's the best hour of the day for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm sort of ready to go.
Yeah. It's so key. And that's the practice, because life is seemingly more and more intense, right? As we get more information and inundated, and there's just kind of, I don't know if it's an astrological timing thing or it just seems more intense than it has been historically in the last few decades. But we have to kind of build that resilience and set the tone. Otherwise, we're just going to be like a boat in the, rapids without an oar.
Balance is kind of it's an okay metaphor for what you're talking about. I think it's the best metaphor. So, how is the key to riding a bicycle having good balance on it? Not really. A bicycle, if you stop moving forward, you don't have balance anymore. You're going to fall over. And I think that it's that combination of forward momentum with intentionality. But also, if you're also riding a bike, I've never done this metaphor before. I'm winging it here as I go along. But you also have to pay attention. Otherwise, you're going to crash, right? So you have to be present.
And looking forward.
Yes, but you have to also be present. Well, yes, you look backwards, you're going to crash. So anyway, the point is that there's no magical formula. I can just say that be present. Be present in the moment as best that you can. And when you forget, then you can remember and go back and being present. For your daughter needs you to be present when you're going to be with her, be present for her. But you also have to take care of the other things. By the way, your child, they want to know that you're doing important things. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think of course, they want to be with you, but you're role modeling for your daughter what a good, healthy life is like. And part of that is work. Mm-hmm. Part of that is the contribution of service that you're doing for other people. And that's important a lesson for her to learn.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Love.Life. Why? How did you come up with that name?
We were talking about names forever. And we ended up acquiring this restaurant in Miami called Love.Life Cafe. And I thought, I think I bought them partly to get the name, but they had trademarked it. But when I first heard it, I thought, this is perfect. This is what it's really about. I think that name encapsulates our purpose. Love life. There's so many different meanings of love life. Like, how's your love life? Mm-hmm. Of course, that's not what we're really meaning there. We're talking about love life. It's a miracle. It's extraordinary. Love it. Love your own life. And love the gift of your own life, but also love life as you encounter it. Love all life. Love the birds and trees and the people that you encounter and everything. Love everything. Love is the answer. Whatever the question is, I promise you love's the answer.
It is. And also, like, what I've been, that thing about forgiveness and loving people that you feel like you've given so much to, and then they turn around and they're like a scorpion and stab you over the back, or a snake, and you're like, intellectually, I understand, like, they have a story that led them, they're being driven by fear, whatever, or now it's becoming abundantly clear that life is kind of orbiting people out of my world for me and bringing people in. And it's this beautiful process, and I can recognize it now and go, okay, I let that go. It's a little painful. My ego got bruised a little bit, but it's like, let that go. But I still get stuck on like justice and like, how do you love someone that's just so...
My wife has she taught me something. She's very, very spiritually wise and loving person. She says, John, it's so much simpler than you make it out to be. And I said, well, how is it so simple? She says, well, just love everyone all the time. No exceptions. That just simplifies everything. You don't have to say, well, I'm going to love this person. I'm mad at this person. I'm not going to love them. And this person's a monster. I'm going to judge this person. Then you're always trying to sort people into these categories. If you just generally try to love everyone, that means being present. It's less of an intellectual than it is of being present and being in the moment with the person and trying to see them through the eyes of love. And that doesn't mean that you are naive or that you get taken advantage of. But as you said, everyone has a story. One thing that's kind of helped me, and this is from my Course in Miracles study, but I'm studying it since 1984. The Course teaches that when we sleep at night, we dream. What's weird about that, if you think about it, it's like we're having a dream, so we're the dreamer, right? But have you ever had a dream that you weren't in the dream?
No.
No, me neither.
I'm always the star of my
Exactly.
dream.
You're always the star of your own dreams. Well, who are those other people in the dream that seem to be acting independently of you? And yet, you're the dreamer, but they seem to be independent. That is very bizarre if you think about it. Mm-hmm. And the Course teaches that when you wake up, you're just waking up to another dream. You think you're waking up to reality, but no, you're waking up to another dream that you're creating. You're the star in your own dream. All these other people seem to be acting independently. But in a sense, your attitude towards them, the way you choose to see them is oftentimes the way that they end up showing up. Mm-hmm. So I play this little game. And the little game is, can I be present and loving enough where I can shift that person's energy, to have them in a better and happier place? And, I sometimes lose that game, but it's a game well worth playing. Because most of the time, if you're smiling and you're radiating love, people open to it.
Yeah, you're not taking it personally.
Exactly. But in any case, like if you're asleep at night, have you ever had what people call a lucid dream?
I think maybe once, but
yeah. So in a lucid dream, the difference between a lucid dream and an ordinary dream is in a lucid dream, you realize in the dream that you actually are dreaming. Oh my gosh, I'm dreaming. Mm-hmm. And then an amazing thing does happen, which is, well, whatever you want to have happen in the dream happens. Once you realize you're the dreamer, you can make it whatever you want it to be. It's not any different when we're here, mm-hmm. when we wake up, when we think we wake up. When we can make this a lucid dream.
Yeah.
In this moment, we can choose love. We can choose a loving reality. And the dream shifts. Our dream shifts. The world, we help other people to wake up to who they are, also beings of love. I really do think that the purpose of life is to awaken to who we are. And who we are is pure love. And then to help other people to wake up, and then they help other people to wake up, and then humanity's waking up.
Yeah.
That's the happy dream.
I'm beaming smiling because I totally agree. And I look at that awakening as a remembering. Like when we soul enters a body and comes out the birth canal or whatever, we forget because we're all of a sudden in this like 3D matrix. And to awaken is to remember that. And so when I hear people talk about near-death experiences and they go to this other realm, they're experiencing that love and that all-knowingness and a single point in time. And I'm just like, if we can have that experience or understand that and know that we're going back to that and we never die. And Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote Conversations with God, also wrote this children's series. And it's just stuck with me. And I try to remember this when I encounter someone that has wronged me or whatever. And it's that game that you play. But it's like, you're about to incarnate and God's like, okay, who volunteers to come and be your enemy in this life, basically, to teach you this lesson that your soul needs to evolve. Mm-hmm. And like the best friend volunteers. So it's actually in the other realm, you like love each other. And in this realm, I'm like, okay, so this person is my best friend in the soul realm. Like, okay. So it helps me. That's my game I play, like to remember
I
that.
like that. That's a good game.
Yeah.
I might add that to my bag of tricks.
You should check out those kids' books. They're pretty profound. So yeah, but I just love it because we talk about life is but a dream. I honestly think row, row, row your boat gently down the stream is like
I always have loved
profound.
row your boat.
Profound. That's all we need to know. It's like there's a current of life. There's a dharma that you came in here with. There's the river. And a lot of us like start to paddle upstream thinking we're supposed to be something else. And that's painful. That's tiring. And so if you just like let the current flow and practice these practices and learn
You're also rowing. You're not just
But you got to row, which is that forward momentum on the bike, right? It's literally, that's all you need to know is row your boat gently down the stream.
It's a pretty spiritual song.
That's it. I talk a lot about the intersection of science and spirit, and Therasage is one of those brands that really gets it. Their products, like the infrared sauna and the red light therapy mats, are rooted in cutting-edge science, but they also help you reconnect to yourself. When I use them, it's not just about detoxing or reducing inflammation, although they do that incredibly well. It's also about creating space for stillness, for recalibration, and for healing. Whether you're dealing with chronic symptoms, low energy, high stress, or you just want to prevent the buildup of toxins that lead to those states, Therasage has the answer. And Robbie Bessner, the founder who I just interviewed on the Heal with Kelly podcast, is someone I deeply respect. His passion for creating technologies that are aligned with nature is what I'm all about. If you're ready to supercharge your healing toolkit, Therasage is offering a very generous 25% off for our Heal with Kelly community. Just use the code Kelly when you visit therasage.com. That's Kelly when you visit THERASAGE.com. So let's talk a little bit about mistakes and learning, because I think as an entrepreneur, people don't realize how many mistakes you make. And I think that the sooner you can learn. I was raised in an environment where I thought mistakes equate stupidity and lack of worth.
Yeah, most of us are taught that.
Yeah. And so now I've been learning through life, and my ex-husband, like, oh no, mistakes are part of success. And the sooner that you can fail and fail forward, the faster you can achieve what you want to achieve. So talk to me about your experience of mistakes, and are you learning new mistakes? Are you experiencing new mistakes? Or can you take what you learned with Whole Foods and it just perfectly applies to creating Love.Life?
No, exactly. I'm making new mistakes with Love.Life. And I'm repeating some mistakes that were so long ago that I've forgotten the lessons, you might say. I do think we grow through mistakes, but I will tell you a funny story. I was talking about that back at Whole Foods. This is 25 years ago. We were going through a rough patch. I remember talking to one of my leaders, and I said, these mistakes are, this is what teaches us and helps us improve and helps make us better. And Patty was her name. She looks at me and says, I'm tired of getting better. Can't we just not make some mistakes for a while?
So good.
I thought that was really hilarious.
All need a Patty.
Exactly. She'd heard all that she wanted to hear about growing through mistakes. Let's just grow.
Yeah. Can we nail it for a while,
exactly. Please? So I think that one of the secrets to success in life is to be willing to admit that you're making a mistake so you can reverse course. I'm also a long distance backpacker, so that's why I do a lot of hiking metaphors. And one of the things I learned through hiking, and this is a particularly difficult lesson for many men to learn, because we don't like to ask for directions. We don't like to admit we're going the wrong way. And it's when you're on the wrong trail, turn around and retrace your steps. Or when you think you're lost, go back to where you last knew where you were. And so I think that's a good metaphor. We are going to make mistakes, but if you continue down the path because you can't admit that you're making a mistake or that you've made a mistake, and your ego is so determined to prove that you're right and not wrong, that you can do damage to yourself and to your organization. So I've always been, I never thought admitting I was making a mistake. In fact, it humanizes you to the rest of the team to a certain extent. It's like, oh, he makes mistakes too. Yeah. He's not perfect. So you're setting an example also by if you mess up, fess up. And so I think that is a way to accelerate our growth. And by the way, if you're not making any mistakes, one of two things is happening. Either you're playing it way too safe, or you're lying to yourself. Because I find that in some ways I make mistakes almost every day. I mean, just in terms of like, that word was, that's what I just said was misinterpreted. And I didn't intend it that way. But then again, maybe I did intend it that way, because why did it even come out? So there's an opportunity to self-correct and to ask for forgiveness, apologize, let's start over. So I think that a lot of the best entrepreneurs that I know of can course correct relatively quickly. And entrepreneurs, we're going to try things. You try a lot of things and you find out what works. This is working. Let's do more of this. That's not working. Maybe we should do less of that. And then you sort of are course correcting all the time. You know, they say when you shoot up a rocket, and you're saying sending a rocket to the moon, it's off course almost all the time. They're constantly having to correct the course to keep it on its path, but it's not like it stays on the path all the time. It's getting off track, and then you have to correct it. So I think as we go through life, we're going to get off course. We're going to forget at times. We're going to make some mistakes. But once we become aware of it, we can choose differently, and we can get back on course.
I think that is so, like, to accept our own humanity and lead from that place. And like, we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. But if people see us taking responsibility, apologizing, realizing it, and having that beginner's mind going, okay. And also in combination with really honing the skills of like that tuning into our body and our intuition, like what feels expansive, what feels contractive. And sometimes our brain overrides that feeling in our body. And so that's what leads to the mistake, because we're like, oh no, but that thing looks so shiny and tempting, but our body's like, "Urgh," and we override it. And then we have to come back and go, oh.
The little voice usually tells us, right, we do override it. And usually almost always that's a mistake.
Yeah.
I really do say, follow your heart. You're really going to be your best guide in life and in almost every situation.
And a lot of people don't follow their heart because of fear, right?
Yes, correct.
Societal or parental pressure of like what you should do, or maybe lack of security. Is there anything you can say? Because it takes courage to create what you created and to follow this path. Because you started Whole Foods in 1978. Yeah. You were early
I was
to the
very
game.
Young. Yeah. I really do believe everyone's called to a hero's journey. We all have a hero's journey that's our inner soul, our heart, our soul, our spirit is trying to lead us to. And fear is what keeps us from answering that call. And fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of seeming foolish, a fear that sometimes a fear that you will be successful. And then an imposter syndrome. How can I possibly do this? I can't imagine. I'm not worthy of it. And so we sabotage ourselves. We don't answer that call. And therefore I always say that you're on your right path when you're happy. Happiness is an indicator that you are choosing to follow your heart. And that leads to love, it leads to happiness, it leads to joy. Here's the great thing though. Remember the dream metaphor? As we make choices, the dream shifts. Every choice we make shifts the dream. We never can get so far off track that we can't choose again, begin to listen to that voice, which is with us all the time on the whole journey. The hero's journey call may change. It's not like I didn't do that when I was 21 years old. My life is wrecked for the rest of the time because I should have made that choice back then. No, in fact, your hero's journey is evolving as you're evolving. And it's always there for you to listen to. So you can get back on track. You might say, no matter how far off you've wandered, once you begin to listen again and follow your heart and follow the inner guidance that's there, that's quiet, and you tune into it, guess what? You're back on the path. You're back in the love space. You're back fulfilling your destiny, even though you were off course for a while. It's like everything is shifting to make it possible for you to choose differently in the next moment, and then you're back.
Yeah.
You can never be lost for that long, no matter how you can lose a lifetime. So what? It doesn't matter. I mean, it's just separate wasting time. It's still going to be. I do firmly believe that the essence of what we are is immortal. We are all expressions of the one being, the one self, the God, and it's just an eternal adventure.
Yeah,
that's how in my book I talk about it. It's just an eternal adventure. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
Never beginnings, no end.
No end. And we do this multiple times. We got multiple shots. But
exactly.
And even if you're later in life and you hear this conversation, or you come to Love.Life, or something wakes you up and you get back aligned with your path, and you get lit up inside, like, time is there. You can have quantum leaps. Like, people can find their love and be like, oh God, it's going to take me. I just got divorced. It's going to take me a year to meet someone and then a year to get engaged. And it's like, things can happen so fast if you believe in your dream that you can have.
Or don't be too attached to a particular outcome.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I know for women it's a little different because of the biological clocks. You want to have children, but in general, in terms of that relationship, as we become more conscious, then the type of partner we will attract in ourselves will also be more conscious.
Yes.
And so you can view, even if you're not in a relationship, you're not together, great, I'm preparing for the next relationship. And it'll manifest when it's ready to manifest.
Totally.
So, because if you start judging where you're at, that's a trick of the ego. Oh man, no one's ever going to love me, or whatever. You start to play those mind games. You really, I think, wander deeper into the wilderness.
It's a blocker.
It's a blocker, absolutely.
So, speaking of which, you mentioned your wife earlier. What is the secret? You guys have been together for
35 years.
35 years. Obviously, love is your core value. Can you share maybe a big learning, or has it just been this like steady flow of continuous connection and growth together because you're so aligned? What is the secret of being in a? Because I know people together for 35 years that are not happy, and we're getting by.
We're very happy.
Yeah, you seem very happy.
I'll say a couple of sort of jokes, and then I'll get to the heart of it. But if you want to be happy in a relationship, find a happy partner, because you won't make the other person happy. People have sort of a happiness set point, like a thermostat. It's set at a certain. Now they can change the thermostat themselves. You can't change it for them. And I remember being in one relationship. I think for a lot of men, I think this is not uncommon, particularly when we're young. Beautiful women can be so bedazzling. We just are basically hypnotized. And the beauty is like you're drunk on that beauty. And that just overrides every other sensible thing. It's like Odysseus on the mast with the sirens calling out to him. He says, don't untie me. Whatever I say, don't untie me. But in men, we are not tied to the mast, and so we swim and sink into the sirens, and so if you want to be happy in a relationship, first of all, you need to be happy yourself. But secondly, you need to find a happy person, because you're not going to make him or her happy.
Yes.
A metaphor I came up with one relationship I was in with a very beautiful woman, but she was unhappy, and she was like a bucket that I would fill up with love, and it would all leak out. So I was constantly filling it up, but it wouldn't hold, because for her own choices in life at that point, she wasn't really ready to be happy herself. And I couldn't make her happy. And so that was a very valuable lesson for me. And so when I got with Deborah's simply the most happy person I've ever known. I don't have to make her happy. I'm just trying to stay conscious enough to be worthy of such an amazing being.
Oh my God. That's so beautiful. It's so funny as you were saying that. I dated a guy whose dad was very successful in my early 20s. And he looked at me one time. He's like, God, it's like the dad. He's like, how are you so happy? I just don't trust it. I'm like, that should have been my first flag. But it's just funny. It's true. There's just different baselines. And I find that like I've gotten into relationships where I felt like the buoy, just keep being dragged down, and I want to fix these people. I see the beauty in them. I'm the rescuer. I want to like cheerlead them to snap them out of their funk,
And you know what? You should do that but you shouldn't be in an intimate relationship with them. You'd be friends.
Yeah. I love that.
Because you are worthy, we're all worthy of someone that wants to share love at the deepest level.
Yeah.
You should hold out for that.
Yes. Going to. Thank you, John. Yeah, I know it's coming, and I'm in this beautiful place of like, oh, I get to be free and be me right now.
I'll tell you a story. So that right before I met Deborah, I'd broken up with my previous relationship in 6 years, and it was hard. And I did a breath work, and in the breath work, I went really deep, and I visualized sort of the ideal woman that I wanted to be in relationship with, and it was very, because I was so deep, the visualization was very powerful and very clear. And I met her the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know I was meeting her at that time.
Right.
But she turned out to be that visualization.
Yeah.
And then I tell the story in the whole story that, I kind of almost blew the first date, but I got past it. And then after we'd fallen in love, I had a dream. And it was a dream I'd had many times before. And in this dream, I'm at this park near my house, Peace Park in Austin. And there's this beautiful woman I see walking towards me, and she's naked, and she's very beautiful. And it's like, in the dream, I always say, who are you? And she smiles at me, and she says, you know who I am. And I said, well, what are you doing? And she says, I've been waiting. What have you been waiting for? I've been waiting for you to catch up. Well, for what purpose? Why? She grabs my hand and says, so we can run together. And we run down the path, and I wake up. Now, I had this dream many times. This was a recurring dream. And soon after I met Deborah, I had it again, and I recognized for the first time the woman in the dream. It was her.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm like crying over here. It's so beautiful. I need to meet Deborah. That's amazing.
I hope you do someday.
Yeah, that's amazing. I have so many places you talk. I know. And I can't wait to dive into the whole story, and I apologize for not reading it before.
No apologies. No, I apologize for not bringing a copy.
Yeah, I'm going to order one. But I know that you had an ego death with an LSD experience.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was always like, I could never handle acid, but now I've expanded my consciousness, and I know very responsible people doing guided journeys. But I had a very similar, or just the way you describe that we're all expressions of the one being,
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
So I did Bufo right after, and it had been planned before, but my house, I was in the Palisades, house burned down, and my friends, this small group of women and this really conscious woman that facilitated, and Bufo is 5-MeO DMT. And I'd never done it before, and they thought I was going to cancel because of what I had just gone through. And I was like, no, I think it's all perfect timing. Anyways, the understanding that I received was that everything, like we are all expressions of consciousness, like these fractal expressions of consciousness, so that consciousness could know itself. Because when it's just off in being love in the other realm and this love intelligence, basically, we have to be embodied in this kind of matrix so it can experience itself and all the facets, to the darkest end of the spectrum to the lightest end of the spectrum. So that's another game I play. It's like, oh, okay, this person that completely bit the hand that feed them or wronged me or betrayed me or whatever, that's just consciousness understanding itself, And so it just enables me to be loving and to kind of be present to this game of life that we're in. And it is a miracle.
I always see that when people hurt us or wrong us in some way, it's actually a great opportunity to practice forgiveness. They're giving me a gift.
Yeah.
They've given me a gift here. I get to practice forgiveness. And forgiveness is inherently healing in a way. So also, I do think that those things happen also for lessons for me to learn, which is to be present and awake and conscious, but not naive, not willfully blind. You can see things clearly and without being judgmental or without attacking the other being. But you can see that this potential person is maybe not someone I should be involved with. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just being aware, that's being present. It's like not walking down a dark alley where you might get mugged.
Yeah.
It's just, that's sort
Just
of
awareness and learning. Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wisdom.
Yeah. Thank you. Wisdom. I think that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. And it's to take, I'm just thinking of this one woman who betrayed me, but that betrayal became a liberation in some sorts that gave me information that liberated me from this other situation. And also you can take inventory. It's like I was over giving to this woman to try and make her happy because she was in my space. She was in my home. She worked for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is giving with agenda, really. But I was doing it unconsciously, and I'm a giving, generous person. And I want people to be happy. I want people to share in the wealth I've created. And wealth to me is like health and vitality and just a beautiful life. But just to know that it's an opportunity to take inventory on just little places that you can clean up your integrity too,
When I get in a difficult situation and I'm not really happy with it, I have a little mantra. John, it's your dream. It's your dream. What do you want it to be? What do you want your dream to be? And so it's taking responsibility that whenever we stop taking responsibility and we're projecting it out on someone else, we're giving up our own responsibility for our own dream and how we're going to show up in that dream. And so reminding myself that, because if I attack or judge or in some way try to take this other person and separate them from me, I'm not really, that in a sense is harming myself. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't be really clear about what's going on, but again, it's your dream. And so if that's showing up in your life, why?
Yeah.
Why are you dreaming it? What are you trying to learn from it?
Yeah.
What's the point of it?
Why have you created it?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Why have you created it?
Yeah. And I love, it is harming you because when I interviewed Joan Borisenko and many others for Heal, she said, she was running, she was like you, like early to the game, she was running a kind of a conscious holistic cancer clinic back in the 70s or 80s. And she said the ones who didn't heal, there were a few, they were always holding on to either regret or resentment.
Yes. Those poison the soul.
Yeah. And the regrets of the mistakes you made, you can't let it go. You can't
this is maybe the most important thing I'll say in this.
Great.
All that's real is this moment. The past is not real any longer unless we bring the past into the present moment. This is why we're free in each moment to choose love. No matter how many times we forget it, in the next moment we can choose love. And regrets, resentment, those are taking the past, which no longer exists, and polluting the present moment. When we could be free of it, we can let go of it. That's why forgiveness is so important. It's forgiving. We always forgive something that's in the past, right? And in a sense, it doesn't exist any longer. So in another sense, there's nothing to forgive.
Yes.
It doesn't exist any longer.
Yes.
So I find that to be very, very freeing for myself, is no matter how bad it gets or how many mistakes I make, I remember, in this moment, I can choose love. In this moment, I'm free. And I am.
Yeah.
As long as I can remember that. And I may forget it sometimes days at a time. And it's like, oh my gosh, yes, I remember now. Be here now. Yeah. Be present in this moment. And in that moment, I choose love.
This is it. This is it. And to practice that, because we will forget, even that you've been practicing for a long time. You practice it
over and over. It's like in meditating, if you're trying to do a mantra meditation or you're trying to watch your breath or whatever you're doing, your mind will wander off from time to time. However, the longer you practice it, the easier it gets. Well, it's the same way. The more you practice going back into this moment, the easier it gets. We don't forget for as long.
Yes.
The gaps shorten.
Yes.
And until I think there's just presence forever.
Mm-hmm. That's the goal. I love it. Well, I mean, thank you so much. It was such an honor to meet you because I feel like...
Kelly, it's an honor to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
By the way, I saw when I was reading up on you that you had Joe Dispenza on.
Yeah.
He's one of I've not met Joe, but I love his books, and he helped heal my wife recently.
Wow.
So you want to hear about that a little bit? this was fairly recent, but she was vaccine injured from the
Mhm.
COVID vaccination.
Mhm.
She took the first booster and Pfizer. She was going to India. I said, "Don't take it. This stuff. Now we know it's not even going to keep you from getting it. Don't take it." She
Mhm.
says, "Well, I know, but nobody's vaccinated over there. I really feel like I need to take it." And she took it, and she had a very terrible reaction from the beginning. She had a rash break out all over her, and then after that, she got COVID anyway. And then she chronic fatigues set in. This was back
Oh.
4 years ago. But she did Joe's Dispenza's workshop in Dallas back in March or April. I can't remember, but
Mhm.
in that time frame, and she healed. Pretty amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's real too. It's like
Yeah.
the energy in that field.
And I'd read
is
his book. I
amazing.
read his book, How to Break the Habit of Being Yourself, which I think is one of the best titles of any book I've ever heard.
Yes.
And I was very impressed with that. So yeah, love to meet him
Yeah,
sometime.
he's profound. Yeah, we'll have to do like a
He
little.
seems like one of those guys that's definitely a light worker on this planet.
He is. He is for sure. I'm like, talk about manifestation. I had this knowing, this calling to put all my teachers in the film, and I was just like visualizing, like, having pictures of me and them.
How do I watch your film?
Oh yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime?
Yeah, it's called Heal.
Heal. Okay.
Came out in 2017.
I'll watch it today.
Amazing.
Why not?
Yeah. But I love Love.Life. It symbolizes everything that we need to be creating in these, like you said, kind of containers to go and be healthy and provide everything we need to achieve that. So I love what you've created.
Trying to help people heal, help people be the healthiest version of themselves. It seems like people say, "Why did you do Love.Life?" You got money, you could just do whatever you want to do in life.
Yeah.
And it was like, I really feel like it could help heal thousands of people, and maybe in the long run, maybe even millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
How can I not try?
Yeah.
I have to try.
Yeah.
And if you try, you might as well do it.
Yeah. And you've learned enough where you can maintain joy and
I'm still making a lot of mistakes, Kelly. I can tell you. It's that being back in startup mode after, that almost a 50-year period is, it's very humbling. It's a good word. You're not when you're back in startup mode, you're not the hotshot entrepreneur that doesn't, make any mistakes. In fact, that's the biggest lesson I've learned, is that far from being some kind of master entrepreneur that has all the answers to every situation. I'm back on the beginner's path of learning and growing and remembering.
Yeah. Well, your track record is pretty dang good. And your philosophy, I feel like you're a good investment. You're a good person to gamble on. So
thank you. I hope so.
How does Deborah feel about being back in entrepreneurship? Is she like, come on, let's go hiking and biking?
She's in Scotland right now, hiking.
Okay.
So,
she's doing Deborah
with her Sufi teacher, and it's a kind of a spiritual journey as well. It's a good question, but I'm not working like I used to work. It's not in the early days. I sort of gave my 20s and 30s and even a good part of my 40s to Whole Foods. My very best of myself was put into that business. And so, yes, I'm giving my money, my wisdom, my leadership, my vision, but I'm not given the same type of physical commitment in terms of the work effort I'm putting in. First of all, I'm a lot older. It's not as easy to do it. And I just don't want to. I don't feel like that's what I want to do. That's not what my heart's calling me to do. So it's different. And so there's time for my wife and time for my friends, time for pickleball, time for hiking, and time for Love.Life.
Cool. And is Love.Life just the one location now, or do we have plans
our second one, we'll have more in LA, but almost surely our second one will be in Austin, where my primary residence is, because I have to come out here to go to Love.Life. I need one closer.
You do.
I need one near where I live.
And the Austin peeps are ready for it too.
They are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming and sharing your wisdom today.
Thank you, Kelly. It's been an honor to be with you.